I wrote an article back in 2019 about a journaling technique that truly changed my life. And I first heard it from Alex Banayan, the author of The Third Door, when he was explaining it on a podcast. And I decided to commit to this 30-day journaling challenge because I've been journaling for more than a decade by now. And I really wanted to see what the results would be. Now, after I published the original article, there was a lot of traction. A lot of people had found it. And funnily enough, Alex himself found the article and then reached out to me, and I got interviewed for his new book. This was a couple of years ago, which is kind of wild that I simply shared my experience and fully put this technique to the test. And then the author of the book, who inspired me to write this article, actually reached out to me directly, and yeah, it was quite a crazy experience. But I wanted to make a video about this. I have a course, multiple courses that actually go more in depth when it comes to journaling and keeping a diary. There are a lot of different techniques covered there. You can check out the links below. But I wanted right now just to cover this 30-day journaling technique inspired by Alex Banayan. Before we get into this journaling technique and what it is exactly, I really want you to understand that it is very important that you do this for 30 days straight. If you do this for 3 days or 5 days, you are not going to get as much out of it. The whole beauty and really the whole point and impact of this practice is that you commit to it for 30 days. And when you do it for 30 days, you're going to see certain patterns emerge and you're going to gather so much incredible data about yourself, but it's only going to happen if you stick with it. So before you actually go and learn about the instructions and what it takes, make sure that you really commit to this practice and do it every day for at least 30 days. The rules are quite simple. First, answer 3 questions at the end of every day for the next 30 days. Second, do it pen to paper, not on your phone, not on your tablet or computer. Do it pen to paper. And number 3, don't skip a day. If you skip a day, you have to start from the beginning. I know it's quite frustrating, but really trust me on this one. Commit to it for 30 days straight. To help me with remembering to complete this journaling technique, I actually put my notebook on top of my pillow. So this way, if I forget to do it around dinner time or when I'm winding down, I actually see it right before I go to bed. And this actually forces me to fully stick to the plan that I had committed to doing this practice. So I think it might be helpful for you as well. If you're somebody that might struggle to keep this consistent, just put your notebook or a piece of paper and a pen on top of your pillow. So this way you're going to be reminded before you go to bed. There are 3 questions that you need to answer every day at the end of the day. Now, the questions are fairly simple and they're not going to be super insightful. It's not going to be like, oh, think about your childhood and the deepest emotions that you were feeling. They're fairly simple questions. However, you will be surprised how much depth will come from your answers when you do it day after day after day after day. I was, to be honest, quite surprised. I did this challenge so many times in the last 5 years. When I first discovered it, I did it for 30 days. I've done it for 60 days. I think I've even done it for around 3 months consistently, just because I could see all of these patterns emerge. But the questions are fairly simple, as I said, and the most important thing is that you do them consistently. When you answer the questions, make sure you leave everything on the paper. Don't hesitate. Try not to write just a 1 or a 2 sentence answer. Just keep writing until you feel like you're empty and there's nothing else to share. And sometimes it might be a bit of a struggle. Okay, where do I start? How do I phrase my words? But really try not to think too much about it. Nobody else is going to see the answers. Just put it all out on paper, or leave it all out on paper. I don't know which term is more correct, but anyways, write it all down on paper. The 3 questions from Alex's journaling challenge are: number 1, what filled me with enthusiasm today? Number 2, what drained me of energy today? And number 3, what did I learn about myself today? That's it. Those are the 3 questions. Very simple, very easy, but you're gonna see just how insightful they are. When I first started doing this challenge back in 2019, I was working with quite a difficult client at the time. I was a freelancer, I was working for myself, and this client, I mean, he would make my blood boil. I would get so heated and so frustrated. There were just so many difficulties with this client. And somewhere around day 20 or day 25 of doing this journaling exercise, I actually started scanning back on all of the answers of what drained me of energy today. And in almost every single answer, I have written down that it was this particular client. And I was thinking, that's kind of interesting. There's that one variable. And the reason I say variable or data is because I consider myself an inner researcher. So everything that I look at, the way that I work, the way I work with my clients, I look at it through a lens of a researcher, trying to be as unbiased as possible and gathering a lot of different intel, looking at different variables that affect me and my life. So with this challenge as well, I saw that one variable that was very consistent in my answers of what drained me of energy, and it was this client. So I actually saw it and I thought, okay, if this is the one variable that drains so much of my energy and makes me so unhappy, I guess I just need to let this client go. So after we wrapped up the project, I actually said that I am unable to work with them anymore, and hence this variable was removed, and no more did it present itself in the question of what drained me of energy. Be open to everything that might come up as a result of this challenge, commit to it, and I'm really curious to hear if you do try out this challenge and also how it works out. Keep me updated, but I really encourage you to do this and see all of the insight that you're going to find about yourself.